What's going on, guys? So today we're talking about a pretty interesting knife. This one I was very interested. The day I saw it I knew I wanted one, and eventually I got it in trade. This is the KaBar Forge wrench knife. All right, these sell between $40 and $45. Pretty interesting knife. The original owner had these straps on it. All right, so these are kind of interesting. So it's a super heavy duty material, some kind of plastic or something. They're button snaps, but the button snap actually has a screw that holds it together. So you would undo the screw, slip it through this part here. This is how it was kind of, sitting around the knife. And then basically it was like a belt loop, okay? So you can have it on the belt. Now, when I got this knife, I knew I wanted to make it into what you see here, which is a neck knife. Now, there's no real easy way to do it other than modifying the sheath. So let me set this stuff off to the side there. So here's what I did. I ended up drilling a hole in the sheath here, okay, because the stock sheath has a hole here, a slit, or a slot rather, another hole, and a large hole on the top right, okay. I don't think this is really obviously meant for neck carry, but you guys know I love fixed blades, especially small to medium sized fixed blades for neck carry. I generally carry larger neck knives than most people. The average neck knife would probably be something like the CRKT Minimalist, or originally the Alan Foltz Custom Minimalist. That's a really awesome, just out of the way, small little guy, right? But I tend to push the envelope a little bit, and I do end up carrying much larger fixed blades. But yeah, the only way around this was to drill a hole here. So I drilled it, I cleaned it up a little bit around the edges so it wouldn't, mess up the paracord. And then I made a simple adjustable paracord, necklace that it obviously went through both these holes, so it carries straight. If you didn't drill the hole here, you would just have to use this hole, obviously, and it would carry on like a weird angle in the neck. Okay, I like my neck knives carrying straight down. It would just be like this awkward thing. So I didn't want to mess with it, drilled the hole, worked out totally fine. So that is how I prefer to carry it, but most people would probably carry this, on the waistband or something. Now, I do love the looks of the knife. Obviously, it's kind of gimmick here, is that it looks like it was a wrench that was turned into a knife, but it's actually forged specifically as a knife, okay? It just gives that look. It's actually pretty common for people, especially if you're getting into knife making, to take hardened steel tools like a wrench or something and, flatten out and grind up that edge so it turns into a knife. So it's pretty cool. That's kind of what caught my eye originally, as it looks quite literally like one of those custom wrenches that were turned into knives, but it was specifically forged in this shape. So there's no confusion there. KaBar is making just knives. They're not turning wrenches into knives. Now the model number on here is an 1119. So if you're looking for, it's found easily by typing in KaBar forged wrench knife or KaBar wrench knife, but that's the actual model, I believe, is an 1119. But anyway, some specs on here: 3.1 inches on our actual blade or cutting edge, 7.1 inches overall, and it weighs 3.2 ounces. Obviously, it is drop forged. It has a very nice finish on it that's kind of semi-polished. It's super, super smooth in the hand. It's actually very comfortable. There's no jimping or anything, just overall polished up, smooth feel. It is kind of cool that it kind of looks like a wrench knife, or a wrench turned into a knife. The blade steel on here is a 425 stainless steel. It's a high carbon stainless steel. Now, this is my first time using this blade. It's not anything I'd write home about. It dulled out. I wouldn't say fairly quickly, but it got dull before I thought it would get dull. To my best understanding, this is similar, and of course every blade steel is different, but to compare it to something you might be used to, it's on par with something like maybe 420 high carbon steel, that you might be familiar with, like Buck or something. Buck does a fantastic heat treat on their blades, especially their softer steels on their more affordable knives. But that's about the performance range so far that I've experienced with this. Not amazing, not horrible, somewhere in between, but definitely reasonable for a budget knife. Again, this is being between $40 and $45 on average. I believe the Rockwell is between 57 and 58 on the 425 blades. So, it's pretty decent. That's all. It wasn't impressive, but it will definitely get the job done. And of course, if you're into knives, you should always, maintain your edge anyway. Keep it nice and sharp. But yeah, it carried great as a neck knife. If you guys have a drill a hole, throw some paracord on there. It's actually really comfortable. It's very flat. It sits very, very flat in the chest. I've carried some different knives lately. They were a little chunkier and bulkier and stuff. So it actually handles really nice as a neck knife, but most people probably won't carry it that way. As a belt knife, I think it's a very reasonable size. I really do love the retention on the sheath, all right? It's not going anywhere. Right? You hear it moving around a little bit, but it's not gonna accidentally fall out. There is a little bit of some jimping and a little bit of a ramp, all right? So it's very easy to get out just by obviously grabbing the handle here and just pushing on the thumb. It just pops out nicely, all right? And you can see how this is dented in on both sides here, okay? That actually slips past right here into this section here. So that's how it's retaining, is it's, you know, separating the sheath right here. Let me give you a side angle, separating it, and then as it goes in, it pops back down. Okay, so it's just sitting, excuse me, in that little crevice right there. So it does retain very, very nicely. And again, super, super slim, super light for a sheath, and it's not too much extra material. All right, I don't like, you know, sheaths that have a ton of extra kydex for no reason. I do like fold over sheaths for that purpose. It's just minimal, especially as a neck knife. As a belt knife, it doesn't really matter so much. But again, most people probably won't carry this around the neck. But I did want to just point that out. It is a really nice sheath. It is very easy to take in and out. And the knife is, it's a joy to use. It's actually got a lot of attention. So far, it's gotten a little bit more of attention than some of my other neck knives because it looks like a wrench. You know, I mean, obviously, you can see the blade profile inside the sheath. But I think what people generally think when they see this, especially sitting on my chest, is that it was something like I made or something, you know, but obviously I have to correct them if they assume that. It gets a lot of attention though. As a neck knife, as a belt knife, it would just be totally normal, look fine. I would recommend something like those straps the previous owner had, so you can carry this horizontally on the belt, would be very nice. Vertically, it's okay. I mean, it would probably look like a wrench, to be honest. I mean, especially if you're doing some kind of work, if you're on a ladder or a contractor, plumber, you know, whatever. It's kind of cool for that if you happen to be in that service industry where you are like a plumber, electrician, you know, contractor, whatever. It's kind of cool because it does match your other tools, obviously, all your wrenches and stuff. So, I don't know, cool little, I wouldn't even say collectible. It does have that kind of gimmick behind it, but it's a reasonable knife, you know, it's decent, it's affordable at the under $50 range. It's just fun. It's a fun knife. It's not like, oh, this is so much better than this one or that one, or it's not the best little fixed blade I've ever had. Especially with the steel, but it's okay. It gets the job done, but it's a conversation piece for sure. People like it, and it's super, super smooth. It is very comfortable to handle. It's obviously a very generic handle shape. Okay, so I mean, anyone can grab this. You can have big old hands and get like, you know, a 3-finger grip on it, or you can have tiny little hands, have a full grip. I have large hands. All right, they are chunky, and I can get a full grip on this. But again, if you had like just monster hands walking around, you know, like a giant, it would still be comfortable, I think, to you. So it's pretty versatile. It's kind of fun, and that's why I was interested. It's just a fun knife. It's not like this is going to have the best performance ever. It's not the most expensive knife, but it is really cool. It gets a lot of attention. So I definitely like it. I think they're fun gifts, you know, if someone's not super into knives. I mean, especially if you get to sharpen them for them, because if they actually start carrying and using it, it will dull out, obviously. I mean, all knives dull out eventually, but with some heavier use, I think the softer steel is probably better. So you're less likely to chip out your edge or something, you know. But yeah, just pretty cool. So I definitely want to talk about that a little bit. Still currently carrying it as a neck knife, although again, that's kind of strange. Most people probably won't do that. I'm kind of a strange dude in that way. And it does get a ton of attention. Being large, being, you know, metal, reflective, all that stuff. I mean, some people don't like that. I know a lot of people who carry neck knives, they do carry concealed. They'll carry it under a jacket, under a shirt. Even in the summer, they'll have it against their skin or something. I don't recommend that. If you're layering up, you know, you have an undershirt, or if you have a t-shirt, then something, you know, button up over top of it or something, it's definitely more comfortable. But most people don't like the attention. I'm not like trying to get attention. It's just what I do. I'm a knife guy. I've always been a knife guy. I've carried neck knives way before anyone even knew what they were. It's just my thing. It's always been my thing. Probably always will be. But it's not to get attention or show off or anything like that at all. It's just literally convenience. If I carry a neck knife, it's for utility. It's not for defense. I get the people who want to keep it kind of hidden and secret, and in some kind of defensive situation, you can always just, you know, lift up your shirt and grab it if you need to. Mine's all about utility. You know, I carry a gun for defense. But, you know, I also carry multiple knives, so if I ever needed them, whatever situation might occur, I do have those as options as well. There's pros and cons to everything, of course. People will point out all different things. But But yeah, I mean, I'm focusing it because that's how I use it as a neck knife. It's just right there, super convenient, and it's been awesome. It's been really cool. But it is kind of big, it is chunky. Most people would probably carry this on the belt, but I think you'd be happy with it as long as you can sharpen your own knives. I can't stress that enough. So many people have expectations of knives. I was like, oh, this is great for like 6 months, and then it got dull. Yeah, it gets dull. It's like saying, oh, this gun was really cool until I ran out of ammo, and then it just didn't work. Yeah, that's it goes without saying, right? But sometimes you have to remind people of those simple things. Anyway, that is all. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new video. And in the comment section, let me know. Do you have this knife? What do you think of it? For me, definitely has a little bit more. It's like 60% novelty, 40%, you know, very usable tool. It's very enjoyable to use. But obviously, as I mentioned, you have to really just maintain that edge. It's not the best steel in the world, but it'll get you by. So that's all. See you guys tomorrow.